There has been 44 games in the KBO so far, and I think they have almost less than 100 to go. I can't believe how quick it's actually gone from watching this and enjoying the aspect of KBO. But now that Major League Baseball has officially announced that they're going to come back here on July 1st, hopefully have Spring Training 2.0, I kind of wanted to do this. So if you're still watching the KBO and you still have not figured out how to compare the KBO teams to MLB teams, here's my little crash course of figuring out who's who. And let's just start off with, I guess this is the worst team in the KBO right now. They have pretty much liquidated their entire team so far. That is the Hanwha Eagles. I compare them to the Baltimore Orioles. The reason why is because they are the worst team in the KBO right now, and how the Baltimore Orioles were for Major League Baseball the past 3 seasons, that they are the worst team in Major League Baseball. They also have share the same bird as their logo, so an eagle and oriole. They're both birds. I think I prefer an eagle more than an oriole, but that's just me. Team colors also resemble each other a little bit, so it's not that hard to shy away from that to pick them. I was I think the Eagles look like the Orioles because logos and colors. Honestly, that's how you want to do it. Do it that way. That's how I predicted it a little bit. Plus, the Hanwha Eagles are equivalent to. That is how they're equivalent to the Baltimore Orioles. NC Dinos. I think the Dinos, which yes, Dinos, my team, Nassau Bum. If you haven't looked at the Road to the Show series, how about you take a look at that not right now, after the video. I compare them to the Oakland Athletics, an analytical team such as the Athletics. NC is a very analytical team. They probably are because of the video game company that they are pretty much are from NC. So the start of the season, it was hot, and they continue to be that way projected-wise. They're 33 and I believe 13, 34 and 13 at this point of this thing going out. There's big power left-handed bat like Nassau Bum. He's can be comparable to the big power left-handed bat for the Oakland Athletics, Matt Olson. Big lefties, big guys that can hit home runs, hit bombs. The Elephant is almost the same size as Swole Daddy, if you want to maybe think of that as well. If you want to go further into comparison, if you want to do mascots comparison to Major League teams. And also, as mentioned it already, analytical. The analytical is the biggest thing for this one for comparing the Athletics to the NC Dinos, as I mentioned that already. Don't forget the Moneyball with the A's back in the 2002-2003 season. That's how Moneyball is placed. We're seeing Moneyball 2.0 with the NC Dinos of how good they are. Let's just hope that they can continue that and just have that first round, second round, third round bye into the championship, and they can just have their 4-game sweep on whoever they're going to take on. Let's go Doosan Bears now. I compare them to the Los Angeles Dodgers, a storied organization with Doosan, and of course a storied organization with the Dodgers. The way they started off, just a consistent team and shows no sign of slowing down. Granted, the number of times the Doosan Bears got into the championship game and won are a lot more than the Dodgers, since they seem to get there and never win the World Series. Doosan is a powerhouse and is one of the most talked about teams in stateside over here in the United States. And the Dodgers is popular in the South Korea due to Hyunjin Ryu. Yeah, that Hyunjin Ryu is a global star over in South Korea, and now he's in Toronto. But still, everybody was like, oh, the Dodgers. That's where Hyunjin Ryu played. Let's go to Lotte Giants. Not really that much to say about Lotte, but I compare them to the Chicago White Sox. A lot of potential, but just not cracked the code in recent season. Lotte is the first time finishing second was back in 1999. The last time the White Sox won the World Series was back in 2005, and they have not been back since. So a lot of potential, just not getting the job done. Kia Tigers, I compare them to the Washington Nationals, a consistent team that trucks along the season and hopes to make the championship game. Nationals were the team that would make the run in middle parts of the season, and in September they would just collapse. Not last year, though, since they won the World Series last year. Kia has big bats like Preston Tucker that can mimic the power just like Juan Soto. The team, both lefties, both guys. And the funny thing is, Preston Tucker used to be over in the Major League Baseball. Great pitching for Kia in Washington. They have the pitchers. They really do. That's something that the Kia kind of prides themselves off of. Samsung Lions, I compare them to the St. Louis Cardinals. Even though Sung Wong Oh was a part of the team, the Cardinal at the one point might help me with this pick. I enjoyed Sung Wong Oh over here with the Cardinals. It was a kind of a breath of fresh air because the Cardinals had the closing situation, the final boss. He was the final boss with St. Louis Cardinals, and I absolutely adored him here. Both well-known teams with corporate. Samsung is a big corporate team. St. Louis is the Cardinals is a storied franchise, just like Samsung. At the point of the season where Samsung grinds out games and wins most important games late in the season, kind of like the Cardinals. So that's why I compared the Samsung Lions to the St. Louis Cardinals. KT Wiz are, I believe, like the Kansas City Royals, a young team who's making a surge in the season. Granted, they are the 8th in the league as of right now. They might be 7th by the time by the time this has been released. They're compared to the Royals as the talent they have already to make the splash. Mel Rojas, I can compare him to the one and only Jorge Soler. Lots of power between the two guys. Mel Rojas is a big help with KT. That's pretty much the reason why I kind of like KT as my second team in the KBO. KT is comparable to the Kansas City Royals. The Kaiwum Heroes, Atlanta Braves is the team that I think that's you can probably copy them off of. Young team with a lot of upside and ready for a championship run, but just needs something to put them over the top. This is equivalent to the Atlanta Braves. The Heroes are sitting 4th in the KBO and continue to try and win their games to the full potential, but I want to see if they can continue this steady rise and make it to as far as the championship game. The Braves are different because back in the 90s is when they actually had their success. They haven't had that success much recently. They made it to the wild card games. They made it to the second round and maybe the divisional round into the playoffs, and they just haven't figured out the way to get past it. But I feel like Kaiwum is comparable to the Atlanta Braves. The SK Wyverns are like the Detroit Tigers, the second worst team playing in the KBO, and I'll compare them to, Tigers. Luckily, there isn't a big contract holding them back like the Miguel Cabrera contract over here in the Major League Baseball, the Detroit Tigers. But the SK Wyverns, not the best team to root for. That's why I compared them to the Detroit Tigers. Let's go to the final team, the 10th team in the KBO. The LG Twins will final that out with the New York Yankees. I can compare them to that. Might be because of the pinstripes, but with how they are hitting and pitching, this is a team that will challenge the NC Dinos, I believe, the league's best win-loss record. LG is a big name globally, and New York Yankees is well known. That is known globally. I feel like if I go over to any side of over in Europe or maybe over in Asia or just even going into South Korea, I'll say New York Yankees, and somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, we know them. I've heard of them before." So it's the same with LG. We know LG over here in the United States. LG's a big name, like I already said. With how the season has gone so far, would have been the Yankees would be in what MLB is happening right now. They'd be the second best team there, or even the third best team. The Yankees are just a power hitting surge. Because you can have the Roberto Ramos, as I'm even going to go with the power surge. Robert Ramos is a stud over there in the KBO, and you can compare the likes of power of Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton. So LG Twins to the Yankees. So once again, I think Hanwha Eagles to the Baltimore Orioles. NC Dinos are comparable to the Oakland Athletics. Doosan Bears to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Lotte Giants to the Chicago White Sox. Kia Tigers to the Washington Nationals. Samsung Lions to the St. Louis Cardinals. KT Wiz to the Kansas City Royals. The Kaiwum Heroes to the Atlanta Braves. SK Wyverns to the Detroit Tigers. And then LG Twins to the New York Yankees. I hope this helped you out. Even though we're 44 games into the season, you probably should have already figured out who they've already mimicked it a little bit, but hey, if this helps you out, awesome. Please like this video, subscribe, enter into the giveaway down below in the description. Comment whether if you agree with me or not. I always keep the conversation rolling here in the comment section. So everybody out there, stay safe and have a good one.